All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. This is the final Board of Finance budget hearing for the 2022-2023 budget year. Tonight is our final vote on the budget. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting back in order. Approximately 5:33. All members of the Board of Finance are present. And as I mentioned, tonight is our final vote on the city's, or the mayor's proposed budget for the city, and on the Board of Education's proposed budget for the Board of Education. I think, since we do have members of the Board of Education here with us this evening, welcome. We will, I think, start with the Board of Education budget. And as members know, once we vote and approve a budget for the Board of Education, that number will be inserted into the education operations, I believe on page, page 94, I believe. Yes, page 94. That'll be a lump sum appropriation to the Board of Education. So at this time, I'd like to open the floor for discussion and a motion on the Board of Education's 2022-2023 proposed budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the Board of Ed budget at $102,008,219.
Okay, that's the motion to approve at the sum of $102,008,319. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is there-
Whole budget.
Yeah, so as presented by the Board of Education, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Mr. Walton. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to amend it or change it. Can I do that?
Well, there's a motion on, so I don't know, it depends on what your amendment is, I suppose. We want to have a little discussion first?
Sure. The discussion would be around, it's on page Roman numeral 8 of the Board of Ed budget. The school counselors, the line item for school counselors.
I'm sorry, what page are you, Roman numeral 8?
Roman numeral,
School counselors in the top box, salaries, yes?
yeah,
Okay.
the line item where the difference is $254,339.
Yes.
I would like to remove that.
Okay, well, I don't think that would necessarily be an amendment, as much as,
You could move to amend the main motion, which was brought, but it can't be specific positions. You can only give a dollar figure, so you'd have to make a motion to reduce the main motion by a certain dollar figure or increase the motion by a dollar figure, but it's the prerogative of the Board of Education to determine whether or not to move forward with specific positions.
correct, that's a lump sum appropriation, so again,
Yeah.
we allocate a lump sum, and the Board of Education has the authority to spend it as they see fit.
And that's, yeah, fine. Then I make a motion to amend the main motion by $254,339 to reduce it by that amount.
So you're making a motion to amend to reduce the,
102,008,319.
by the sum of $254,339. Okay, is that correct?
Yeah.
There's a motion to amend on the floor, is there a second?
Motion passed.
Motion fails, no second, okay. So the amendment fails?
Can I just, do we have a discussion on that real quick? More of a question?
Well, I think we'd still have a discussion on the main motion, so you can certainly raise whatever you like on the main motion.
Is that a substantial increase because they were shifting around some staff? Was that?
Well, I think there's 3 new positions, if I recall correctly, 3 new counselor positions.
The net 3 now?
I think, again, the Board of Ed is here. I think the report was that there were positions that have been paid for, funded through ARPA.
Correct.
Or ESER 3, and those positions, over the course of a period of years, were going to be pushed back into the main budget, so they're new counselor positions, but for at least the last year or two, that they have been paid through a federal grant, so they're new within the last 2 years, but have been paid through the grant, and they're being, half of them were being, or a third of them,
So this is the first year, and over the next 3, this plus 2 more, a third will be moving to the general fund.
All council, because if you look on page Roman numeral 13, there does have the reference to the,
In totality, it's 3 additional counselors at the middle school and brand new positions, 1 school counselor at each elementary. No, that's the
In
total
terms-
in the grant, and
grant.
over the next 3 years, including next year, we'll move them over to the general fund.
Right. So the positions are currently staffed, it's just how they're being funded. So the
Correct.
3 positions that are currently staffed are now being funded on the city side of the budget as opposed to the grant.
My concern, and I feel, is that there's enough rigor and solidification of the job functions
Yeah.
and their effectiveness and the utility. In general, adding personnel should be somewhat arduous. And just because they existed, and they were paid for, but that should, and whether it hits this budget or next budget, they need, it would be nice to see why are they there and what are they doing. And just saying, oh, they're taking care of things, isn't really enough for me to feel comfortable.
Oh, I'm sorry for our miscommunication, Mr. Arnold. In fact, we could send you a couple of the instructional highlights that we presented to the Board of Ed over the course of the year. But we have a very firm curriculum that they're implementing. There's clarity around their roles. And in fact, we're finding that we are experiencing somewhat of a childhood mental health crisis that our school counselors are fulfilling. So we have a 3-pronged approach at the elementary level in particular with school counselors, social workers, and school psychologists. We've had multiple SEL summits, that's what we use in our world, that language. And it's during those times that we are clearly delineating roles and responsibilities, including a comprehensive curriculum that is based on state frameworks for a school counseling program at the elementary and middle school levels. So
Okay.
it's highly formulated and very responsive, and I think particularly during post-COVID needs that we're finding in our young children, that these positions are more needed than ever before. So
Yeah,
I'm
if you
sorry
could-
for our miscommunication, but I'm happy to send you the instructional highlight.
That'd be cool, that would be nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the counselors or any other items within the Board of Education budget? Just for clarification, those 3 positions were being moved from the grant to the budget. Were the other positions, are they new being funded, or were they also transitioned from the grant to the city budget?
The other positions, you mean?
Well, there's 11 new positions being added,
Oh,
and
There-
two non-certified staff, and basically almost six teachers.
The other positions that are currently being funded by ESSER or ARP, 3 are being, or actually 4 are being transferred into the general budget this year.
Right.
4 will be next year, and then 3 the last year,
So
as they come off the grant.
of the 11 positions, how many of those positions are coming off the grant, so to speak?
This year,
Yes,
4.
4, so the remaining 7 are,
We're gonna have this discussion next year for 4 people,
yes.
and the year after that.
Yeah, and if you look at Roman numeral 14, that will explain. So if you
A.
see, I'm sorry. Okay, so if you see the STW teacher from
Yes.
ESER 2 grant,
Yes,
that's the first one, and then the middle school counselors from ESER 2.
understood, okay.
Just to build a little context for school counselors as well.
Yep.
So legislatively, it's required of school districts to ensure that elementary children have access to school counseling services. And that can come in different forms, but it would mean taking away from other levels in order to allow access at elementary. It was the intention of the administration and the Board of Education to invest in elementary counseling. What the grant did was allow us to onboard all of those positions at one time. So, Mr. Arnold, to address your concern that we're going to be addressing this for the next 2 years, actually, that would have been the case anyway. We would have just been doing it slower. So we would have likely done 3 for 8 elementaries, and they would share for a year. Then we would up it to 6, and they would share for 2 years, and then we'd up it to. So we would have taken a slower road to getting to the 11 new counselors,
Mhm.
but it would have still been a path that we traveled. But what the grant did was allow us to onboard them all at once.
Yeah.
And then over the next 3 years, which we've been explicit about at our meetings, that was our intention all along.
Yeah.
And that was the only grant out of the 3 that we received that we hired FTEs in, understanding that we did not want to put ourselves into such a large funding cliff to add more staff. So we felt like the 11 over 3 years was a manageable thing within our budget.
So these counselors are for support for mental health concerns as a result of COVID,
No,
just in general?
Right, so the state has put forward a comprehensive counseling framework that they, through legislation, require that elementary children have access to. So it's just like a regular, general curriculum for all kids.
Gotcha.
But because COVID, now you add that part to the formula, the needs of young people have tremendous, exponentially grown. So the counselor is also helping those individuals, just not students, but families as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think COVID has exasperated our need.
But it's also then a state requirement that you add these,
Well, they don't say add positions, right? The state is savvy that way.
okay?
They're just requiring that elementary students have access to school counseling services.
I'm just curious, what would the schedule for adding have been if we didn't have COVID? Like, is there a way to quantify that at all, you think, or?
You mean, how
Because you
many
said you
years
were
would it take
planning
for
on
us to
adding-
do it?
Or, well, you said you were planning on phasing in some new counselors. COVID did not help anyone's mental health. What was there a plan in place to kind of phase that in
Yeah,
prior to COVID?
there was. We had started the planning with our leadership team on developing, actually, we had it on the table and we cut it that year
Last
before
year.
going into COVID, right? So it had been on the table, at least during my tenure and our work together, since the start. It was just
Yeah.
sort of when is it the right time to jump in with that?
And it's not gonna affect my, but I'm just curious, like, what was the number pre-COVID? Like, if you said, hey, like, right now you gotta phase in, what is it, about 11?
So the number pre-COVID, good question, we had proposed in our planning meetings, 4 elementary school counselors, and there would be 1 that would cover 2 schools. That would be year 1, and then year 2, we would add 4 more for elementary, giving us 8, and then we would jump to the middle school, giving them an additional 3, giving them 2 counselors in each middle school.
So it would have stayed 11.
So it would have been 4,
So it was
4,
always
3.
11.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and it would have been about the same timeline
Yeah,
as when they come off the grant.
gotcha. I'm just curious, like I said, not affecting my motion.
Thank you for the question, it's a good one.
Actually, I have a question as well about, I didn't notice this previously, but the director of school safety is 2 non-certified supervisors. Could you just explain to me those positions?
Director of Digital Services?
School safety, just below that.
Oh, sure, sure,
It's
sure.
just the accounting.
Yeah, it's just a county difference. We previously had the school safety and security director under non-certified assistants. We just moved it up to non-certified supervisors.
I understand that, but isn't there a net change of 2 positions as well?
No, because you see that they come off, in that table at the top, in account 1120, the non-certified supervisors, it's a +2.
Right.
And then down below, in 1129, non-certified assistants, you have those 2 coming out, plus 2 high school, college, and career aides coming out of that category and going into the secretarial.
Those are a wash.
It's just shifting into a different account,
Right.
being paid out of.
Well, I see, maybe I'm misreading it, but I do see on page 14,
Yep,
the 1129 at the bottom,
Yep.
Director of School Safety, it's moved to account and it shows a -1, and then you see FTE above of a +1, which I assume is that position being moved from 1129 to 1120.
correct.
And then, but to the right, you have the net change of 2.0, and I'm just, are we adding? And then there's also an increase on page 8 of the non-certified supervisors, it's about 223,000. So,
So.
do we actually have 2 new non?
No.
Mm-mm. So if you, maybe it's just the way that we're showing it on the graph itself, but on Roman numeral 14, you have the 2 in a plus, but then at the bottom, on 1129, you have a -4. 2 of them are the ones that are up above at 1120. So you have the -4 offsetting the 2 in 1120 and the 2 that are in 1121 secretarial. See,
I understand what you're saying, but I don't know, I'm not sure, it just doesn't seem correct to me, because again, if you go back to page 13, Roman numeral 13,
yeah.
it's showing non-certified supervisors as +2 again, and then a net change of 11 positions. I see the negatives, the -4 for non-certified assistants, which tracks the 1129 change on page 14. But it sure looks to me like you're adding two directors of school safety
No.
for a total of 3.
Nope, so back on 13, the first bold total certified staff
Right.
is an addition of 9.
Correct.
Net increase of 9. And then at the bottom, the non-certified staff, the total non-certified staff is an increase of 2,
Right.
which is not, that's attributable to the, let's see, what we got here. Yeah, the on page 13,
Right.
non-certified supervisors, we're showing a +2, and non-certified assistants is a -4, which corresponds to exactly what's on the page next door.
Oh, okay, so, okay, I see what you're doing. So you're adding the FTE 1 to get the 2 onto the right, and then below in 1129, you're adding the -1, -2 to get the -4.
Yeah.
Okay, I follow. All right. Thank you.
There's no new positions in the non-certified staff.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Any further discussion? Okay, if there's no further discussion, there's a motion on the floor that's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you
Right.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
Bye, everyone, thank you.
Bye, take care.
Good night.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Buffer, you approved the Board of Ed budget as presented.
That is correct. The one, $102,008,319. As presented. Thank you all, okay. Point, we move on to, what do we say, page 14 of the mayor's proposed budget. And I open the floor to Scott to make a motion.
All right, well, we're gonna do this in, do you want me to read off the,
I think if we just do, I think if we just could do Board of Aldermen, elections, I don't think we need the numbers, do we, Peter? The actual department numbers, just the department name? If we do,
Traditionally, we've done the department, number, I think, but I think the name is sufficient.
yeah, I think we've just done the name,
Yes.
unless there's been,
Excuse me, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't read the numbers, just tell me the account, the name, account name.
okay,
Oh,
I have
gotcha.
the book right in front of me.
Okay.
yeah, so we'll just read the account
Okay, thank
name,
you.
we're gonna read the, department name or account name,
And account name.
and then,
Perfect.
so it'll be a multiple account slash departments, and then we'll stop at a certain point and we'll get a second.
all right. I make a motion that we approve as presented the following account names. Board of Aldermen, elections, Registrar of Voters, Milford Government Access TV, Mayor, Mayor's Office, the,
General expense.
where do I go?
Yeah, Mayor,
No, you're good.
you're good, but then that, we,
Oh, okay, sorry, my bad. General expense, community development, city clerk,
that's what we
and we'll stop there.
Second the motion?
do. Second, yes, second by Lauren. Okay, there's a motion to approve as presented all the departments, up through, including community development, and, excuse me, including city clerk. The motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I should note I'm be recusing myself from the law department vote, and just law department.
Just one? All right, I'll make a motion that we approve as presented the law department.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No recuse. Turn it back over to you, Brian.
Thank you. And then, starting with Ethics Commission, if I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve as presented the following departments: Ethics Commission, Probate Court, Board of Finance, Permitting and Land Use, Board of Assessment Appeals, Zoning Board of Appeals.
Excuse me, and I'm not really, we're approving the mayor's recommends as opposed to the department recommends, right?
Correct.
Okay,
That's presented by the mayor.
yep,
Okay, I'll clarify that.
sorry.
No, that's fine, that's what it's all, it'll be for all the departments, it'll be mayor's recommendation.
Pension Board, Flood and Erosion Board, Tree Commission, Civil Service Commission, Park, Beach and Recreation Commission, Economic Development Commission, Conservation Commission, and maybe we'll end on Veterans Ceremony and Parade Commission.
There's a motion made, is there a second?
Second?
The motion is to approve as presented, it's been seconded by Lauren. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, I make a motion that we approve as presented, Housing Code Board of Appeals, Housatonic River Estuary Commission, Open Space, Public Library, Finance Department, Information Technology, also known as MIS, Human Resources, and we'll stop there.
The motion made to approve the departments through human resources, is there a second?
Seconded. I'll second.
Seconded by Lauren, any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman, there was a question about the library at the technical session last week about the increase in the book account. And again, the book account is back to this year's. Initially, the library director trimmed some of her accounts from last year because there was going to be an increased cost to fund the microfiche. However, she was able to fund it through a grant, and so she moved her book account back up to last year's figure for a variety of reasons. One, the price of all things, including books, is increasing right now with inflation, and she wanted to be able to get almost as much as she had in previous years out of that book account, and that was her explanation. She'd initially lowered it in order to pay for the microfiche. Her goal was to keep a flat budget, but when she found another mechanism, we had the discussion, she and I and Peter, during our December deliberations, and that was the background for that.
Thank you for the follow-up.
Just the question, when you say the book account, so her original request that's listed is 95, and yours was 105.
So,
So we would be accepting or approving the 105,
yes.
correct?
So the last year's figure was 105 as well. She went down in her initial recommendation because she didn't have some information, including the microfiche number. That has changed, so in December when we met, we went back to last year's figure for a variety of reasons. One, because of inflation, and two, just to kind of keep it status quo where it was the previous year.
Okay, but just to be clear, we're approving the 105.
So we're approving the mayor's budget as presented unless there's a motion otherwise.
That's correct. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, thank you, Mr. Arnold. Any further discussion?
If they only need 95, do we want to approve 95 then?
Well, I think the point, they have 105 in the budget as of this year, if you look to the left. So she was trying to keep.
Oh, gotcha.
You see, so there's really no change, it's not an increase, it's flat.
Yeah.
So it was really.
She was trying to be good and helpful, and she shouldn't be, to me, shouldn't be penalized.
Exactly, because she's founded in the source one.
Understood.
Okay, if there's any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Page 43, starting with the police department, is there a motion?
I will make a motion that we approve as presented the police department's budget.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve the police department as presented?
I thought about doing something that I realized I'm kind of anti increasing headcount. That keeping headcount in check is important. And the original thing that I'm not proposing, but was thinking about, is to allow for additional personnel and cut the overtime. But kind of goes opposite of adding headcount.
Right.
Just discussion, nothing formal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arno. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I'll make a motion that we approve as presented. Fire department.
Motion made to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Lauren. Any discussion on the motion to approve the fire department as presented? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, we'll do a few more and we'll stop at the public works then. So I'll make a motion that we approve as presented. Emergency management, animal control, and lighting, hydrants, and water. Stop there.
Thank you. There's a motion made to approve as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So we do have a change, technical change on page 63 for Public Works Department. I think, Peter, you would like us to read the line items that would change the subtotals, department totals. Should we start on page 64 for the office support assistant?
Yeah.
So you start on page 64 here. And then approve that, those two changes, and then we'll go back to the page.
I'll make a motion that we approve as, well, we can do as presented.
As modified?
No, you just read.
As presented with the following
With the following
changes.
adjustments, okay. I make a motion that we approve as presented with the following adjustments. Office support specialist, P is in Peter, W is in Wally, 25-1, to be adjusted to $49,412, which brings the position's totals to $495,898. That brings the department total, that brings the regular wages account to $495,898. It brings the fifth fiscal week to $2,475, bringing the subtotal to $500,874, bringing the department total to $508,905.
Excellent, so that's a motion to approve as presented with the changes as noted. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Lauren. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none?
I just have a question. It seemed to really, or maybe I'm missing, no, I'm sorry, I withdraw.
Okay,
Look at the wrong page.
fine. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, moving on. Make a motion that we approve as presented the following departments. Highway, Parks,
Oh, yes. Yep, sorry.
Building Maintenance, Engineering, General Garage, Solid Waste, Public Debt Service, Health Department, Recreation Department, and we'll stop there.
Okay, there's a motion to approve those departments as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Warren. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, through you, I
Yes.
just want to commend the Director of Finance and the Mayor for really managing the public debt service. That seems like a hidden cost nobody ever knows about, and because you guys do a really good job, Milford is better for it. Just general comment.
Very true. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Where do we leave off?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready benefits.
We gotta start there, correct?
Correct.
So I'll make a motion that we approve, as presented, the following departments: employee benefits, insurance and bonds, claims and refunds, benefit and salary reserve, and unallocated contingency. Council on Aging, Milford Arts Council, CMed, Regional Mental Health Board, the Borough of Woodmont, Transit Authority, Bridges Healthcare, Inc., Veterans Graves, Milford Flotilla 73, Human Services Department, Historic District, Milford Progress, Inc., Historic District 2, Health Services, Cemetery Association, and we'll stop there. Well, actually, I'm sorry, yeah, we'll do two more. We'll do Bethel Center, Boys and Girls Club, Literacy Volunteers of Southern Connecticut, and we'll stop there.
Thank you. There's a motion made to approve as presented those departments. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Lauren. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, I will make a motion that we approve as presented with the adjustment to Historic Preservation Council. The adjustment that I would suggest is as follows: secretarial fees at $500, advertising also at $500, other supplies and charges up to $2,000, bringing the subtotal to $3,000, and the department total of $3,000.
Thank you. That's the motion to approve with the changes as noted. Is there a second?
Oh, second.
Seconded by Lauren. Any discussion on the motion?
Did we find out if that was the writing for the graphics, is that an annual cost?
I did not
Did we, oh,
get a chance, but I'll see if I can find out before next meeting.
We'll see next year.
it's a lot of time.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All right, we'll do another small block here. I approve the following departments as presented: private school textbook, education audit fees, school debt, education employee benefits, and we've already gone.
So we've got those four departments motion made to approve as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Lauren. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, Peter, as far as education operations, we've already made that motion, so we can move on to, I guess, just one more, health education.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion that we approve as presented, education health insurance contribution.
I'll second.
Motion made to approve as presented. There's a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, I'll make the following motion as presented with the following adjustments. Education Health Services, under R as in Robert, N as in Nancy, 1-5. Nurse Public Health, that should be adjusted to $79,184. That would bring the position totals to $1,391,534, which brings the regular wage account to $1,391,534, 1/5 fiscal week up to $396, and the subtotal to $1,464,430. And the department total up to $1,508,344.
Excellent. There's a motion made to approve as presented with the changes as noted. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We'll move on to page 98. Food Commission, 98. It's just adding automatically, right? Because we don't have to prove expenditures on 97, or those,
You can approve
revenues in?
revenues and expenditures.
Okay.
Okay.
My mistake.
So I'll make a motion that we approve as presented the following. Sewer fund revenues, $9,148,842, and sewer fund expenditures, $9,148,842.
Keep going.
Keep it rolling. In addition, I'll make a motion to approve as presented sewer commission, wastewater, benefit and salary reserves, unallocated contingency, which are all under the sewer use fund.
Okay, motion made to approve as presented,
I'll second.
seconded. Any discussion on the motion to approve basically the sewer commission expenditures and revenues and the various departments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Excuse me, yes, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, harbor management.
I will make a motion that we approve as presented the following. Harbor Management Commission revenues of $366,850. Harbor Management Commission's summary of expenditures of $366,850.
Yes.
Harbor Commission, Marina Enterprise revenue. The Harbor Commission. Golf course. And the revenue side of the golf course in addition. So golf course at $85,000 of revenue, operations total of $85,000 for the golf course expenditures.
Thank you. There's a motion to approve those departments as presented.
Second.
Seconded. Thank you. Any discussion on those departments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, so I think we're good, thank you. Scott. We can go to page 4, general fund revenues. And I think, well, we can approve everything but current taxes, Peter, or how should we do that?
Usually you approve, yeah, everything but current taxes. And then we just go straight, then we'll go right into current taxes, after you approve the other revenue.
On the expenditures, should we do expenditures first, general, or do we not need to do that?
That'll be last, after we,
Okay, after we do taxes, okay.
you, in essence, you've done the expenditures
Already,
already.
okay, so we won't need to address pages 9 through,
No.
9
You
through
will start
13.
at, ahead of that in the
Yes.
general fund revenue, everything except current taxes should be voted on.
Okay. So take a motion to approve general fund revenue starting on page 4. I think it's all under the same department. General fund revenue, we'll take a motion to approve general fund revenue as presented with the exception of current taxes, which is blank. Is there?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve as presented, general fund revenues, with the exception, which is blank, of
Current taxes.
current taxes.
Yes.
I'll second that.
There's a motion made to approve as presented. There's a second. Motion made as, to approve as presented. There's a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, while Peter calculates the current year taxes, I don't know how long it's gonna take him, but he's pretty good at math. Just as a reminder, this was a unique year. This year, we saw a reval that's gonna impact next year's taxes. For some people, that reval meant that they're gonna be paying less in taxes. For some people, it means more in taxes. For the last at least 6 years, we have had a flat budget. We have enjoyed a consistent grand list that increased a little bit every year, but taxes pretty much stayed flat. They actually went down a little bit each of those last 6 years for everyone. This year, there's going to be, depending on what your reval was, either an increase, a decrease, or potentially a flat line for your taxes next year. The good news in all of this is that we should have a decrease in the mill rate. It should go down to somewhere in the 26s, which is good. The reason for that, for the most part, is that we continue to have growth in the city of Millburn. We've had over $100 million again in new construction. But in addition to that, our grand list has swelled because of the reval. We've had about a $1.2 billion increase in our grand list. Some of that was because of adjustments to properties based on construction and things of that nature. Some of it was based on the fact that we had a reval, which it was the height of the market. There are a couple of other factors. If you take a look at motor vehicles, we added a lot of motor vehicles to our grand list. In addition to that, the cost of motor vehicles in general has increased. So the Blue Book value for cars and trucks has increased by a factor of, Peter, was it about 27%, 28%? Everywhere. Used vehicles, new vehicles. Obviously, if they're gonna be on our tax rolls, it's gonna be a used vehicle to some degree, because we do not assess inventory at car dealerships, despite the fact that we have a lot of car dealerships. So, with that being said, we had some cost drivers this year. First and foremost, the largest cost driver we had was the health insurance account. Health insurance, per our consultants, increased so substantially because of utilization. That was the main driver for our health insurance cost increases. Over the next 2 months, Peter and I are going to be doing what we can before the Board of Aldermen ultimately adopts its budget to try to soften the blow with those health insurance costs. Try to find a way to bring down those costs, working with our consultants, potentially finding other funding sources to cover the costs. So we have our work cut out for us over the next month and a half, 2 months before the Board of Aldermen ultimately adopts its budget. But I think that the budget that you presented so far is as responsible a budget as we can get. And I thank you for your work, thank you for the time that you put in over the course of the last couple of months since the beginning of February and really all year. The budget is not just a 1 or 2 month process for each board, it's an entire annual exercise that we go through each year that we're constantly living. So your time, your energy, your expertise that you put in, I'm grateful for that. I know that the residents are grateful as well, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, that was an excellent summation. Thank you all, members of the board. Echo the mayor's comments, thank you all for your hard work. And thank you to Peter and the mayor for frankly making our job easy, under the circumstances anyway. As it's a pleasure to work with you both on the budget.
Likewise, thank you. So I'm ready, I could give you the current year taxes, and then we may vote on it, and then we'll disclose the mill rate and any totals you like to hear.
Thank you.
The current year tax amount is $209,082,294.
So that's $209,082,294.
Correct. And that gives the total budget. For that, the total budget is $242,146,666. So 242,146,666.
666.
It's unlucky.
I'm sorry.
Can you make it 667?
I'd like to make a motion to
Could you
change
repeat,
the line.
Yeah.
could you repeat that again?
Sure. The total budget combined is $242,146,666.
You can't say it a third time, just say
Right.
it.
And
Okay, well, thank you. I think we could take a, if we
And do you
would,
have the mill rate?
well, we're gonna have to vote first on the two numbers that Peter just gave us, and then we can,
yep, then I'll give you the mill rate right after.
All right, I will make a motion that we approve your general fund revenue, current taxes of $209,082,294. In addition, that'll bring the total budget to $242,146,666.
I'll second.
thank you. There was a motion to adopt those items in the budget and approve. The same, there's a second by Lauren. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
So the mill rate is a decrease from last year.
What's the current mill rate?
The
I'm sorry?
current mill rate is 27.65. and that's for the current year, fiscal year 2022. And for the new year, fiscal year 2023, the mill rate would be 27.18. So a decrease of 0.47 mils. Decrease based on a grand list of October 2021 of 7,893,988,173, which is an increase of 1.143 billion to round up. So that's an increase in the grand list, if I round it, about 16.93%, or close to 17% increase in the grand list.
We vote on the mill rate?
Yeah, we might as well. Make a motion to adopt the new mill rate. State that.
Sure, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the new mill rate of 27.18, which represents a reduction of 0.47 mils as compared to 2022 budget year.
A second.
There's a motion made to approve the new mill rate of 27.18. And seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. No, it's an assessor.
That's from
option.
the assessor, yeah, that's been.
I think that's it.
That's it.
Okay, thank you all, everyone. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, if there's no further business or discussion, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Adjourn.
I'll
Second by
second
Warren.
that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion to adjourn is adopted unanimously. 6:30.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Jackie,
You all
for the
set?
record, that